The rain hammered against the cracked window of the tiny basement apartment as Maya counted the last of her bills for the third time, hoping somehow the numbers would change. They didn't. $43 until next Friday. She carefully folded the worn 20s and tucked them back into her wallet, blinking away the tears that threatened to fall. Her phone buzzed, a text from her best friend Sophie. Maya, I need the biggest favor of my life. Please say yes before I explain. Maya smiled despite her exhaustion. Sophie had been there for her through everything: the job loss, her mother's medical bills, the eviction notice she'd barely escaped. Whatever Sophie needed, the answer was already yes. My cousin set me up on a blind date tonight with some businessman. Fancy restaurant date. But Jake just surprised me with tickets to the concert I've been dying to see. Same night. I can't reach my cousin to cancel. Would you go in my place? Please. I'll owe you forever. Maya's first instinct was to laugh. At a fancy restaurant? She looked down at her thrift store jeans and the sweater with a small hole in the elbow. But Sophie's message came through again. The reservation is at Orleo's. They'll feed you amazing food. When's the last time you had a real meal, Maya? Please, for me. That hit home. Maya had been living on instant noodles and peanut butter sandwiches for 2 weeks. Her job as a nanny paid barely enough to cover rent and her mother's medication costs. A fancy dinner, even with a stranger, suddenly sounded like a gift from heaven. Okay, she typed back. But you owe me big time. You're the best. His name is Ethan. Wear something nice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Maya opened her closet with a sinking feeling. Something nice. She owned exactly one dress, a simple navy blue one she'd bought for job interviews 3 years ago. It would have to do. At 7:30, Maya stood outside Orleo's, feeling completely out of place. The restaurant glowed with warm light, and through the windows, she could see elegant chandeliers and people in designer clothes. She almost turned around, but her stomach growled, reminding her why she'd agreed to this crazy plan. Inside, the host greeted her with a professional smile. Good evening. Do you have a reservation? Yes, under Ethan. I'm meeting someone. She felt her cheeks flush. Ah yes, Mr. Castellan's table. Right this way. Mr. Castellan. The name sounded important, and Maya's anxiety spiked. What had Sophie gotten her into? The host led her to a private corner table where a man sat checking his phone. He looked up as she approached, and Maya's breath caught. He was handsome in an understated way. Dark hair, intelligent eyes, and a kind face that put her slightly at ease. But his watch probably cost more than her entire year's salary, and his tailored suit screamed wealth. Sophie? He asked, standing politely. Actually, number. I'm Maya. She decided honesty was the best policy. Sophie couldn't make it our family emergency and she asked me to come explain in person. I'm so sorry to waste your evening. Ethan studied her for a moment, and Maya prepared for disappointment or anger. Instead, he smiled, a real, warm smile that reached his eyes. Family emergency, or did she just get a better offer? He asked with surprising humor. Maya's lips twitched. Let's call it an unexpected conflict of interest. He laughed outright at that. Well, you're honest. I appreciate that. And since you came all this way to deliver the message in person, the least I can do is offer you dinner. Unless you have somewhere else to be. Maya knew she should leave. This wasn't her date. But the menu on the table showed prices that made her dizzy, and she couldn't remember the last time someone had offered her anything without expecting something in return. I don't want to intrude, she said carefully. You're not. Honestly, I was dreading this. Blind dates set up by well-meaning relatives are usually disasters. But you seem like actual good company. Please, sit. Something in his tone made her believe him. Maya sat down, and just like that, the strangest evening of her life began. They ordered, and as they waited for food, They talked. Really talked. Ethan asked what she did for a living, and instead of giving her usual vague answer, she found herself opening up about the children she cared for, a 6-year-old twins whose laughter made even her hardest days worthwhile. "They're obsessed with dinosaurs right now," she said, her face lighting up. "Yesterday, they spent 2 hours building a museum out of cardboard boxes. It was chaos, but beautiful chaos, you know." Ethan listened with genuine interest, asking questions, laughing at her stories. He didn't check his phone once. "What about you?" Maya asked. "What do you do?" "I run a company," he said vaguely. "It's not as interesting as dinosaur museums, I promise." The food arrived, and it was everything Maya had dreamed. Each course was a work of art, flavors she'd never experienced before. But what surprised her more than the food was how comfortable she felt with Ethan. He didn't talk down to her or make her feel poor. He treated her like an equal, like her thoughts mattered. When dessert came, a chocolate creation that belonged in a museum, Maya made a decision. She pulled out her phone and showed him a picture of the twins covered in finger paint, grinning like maniacs. "This is my real life," she said. "I live in a basement apartment. I can barely afford groceries most weeks. My mum is sick, and I'm one emergency away from complete disaster. I don't belong in places like this, and I don't want you to think I'm something I'm not." Ethan set down his fork and looked at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "Do you want to know why I agreed to this blind date?" he asked quietly. "My family thinks I need to settle down. They keep setting me up with women who look perfect on paper, are wealthy families, right connections, impressive careers, and every single one of them spent the whole dinner talking about vacation homes and designer brands and who they knew. Not one of them asked me a real question. Not one of them made me laugh." He leaned forward. "You're the first person in years who's treated me like a regular human being. Do you know how rare that is?" Maya felt something shift in her chest. "You're not regular though, are you?" "That watch costs more than my car. Actually, more than any car I could ever afford." "Just because I have money doesn't mean I'm not lonely," Ethan said simply, "or that I don't want to meet someone real." The waiter interrupted to refill their water, and Maya used the moment to steady herself. This was dangerous territory. Men like Ethan didn't end up with women like her. This was a Cinderella story, and she'd learned long ago that fairy tales weren't real. "Tell me something true about yourself," she said, changing the subject. "Something you don't tell people on first dates." Ethan thought for a moment. "I'm terrified I'm turning into my father. He built an empire but died without any real friends, surrounded by people who wanted something from him. I don't want that life." The vulnerability in his voice made Maya's heart ache. "Then don't live that life," she said. "You get to choose." "It's not that simple, isn't it? I chose to become a nanny instead of chasing some high-powered career. I chose to take care of my mom instead of leaving town for better opportunities. We always have choices. They're just hard ones." They talked until the restaurant started emptying out. Maya didn't notice the time passing until the waiter politely mentioned they were closing soon. Outside, the rain had stopped, leaving the city streets glistening under streetlights. Ethan insisted on getting her a car home, and Maya was too tired to argue about pride. As they waited for the car to arrive, Ethan turned to her. "Can I see you again?" Maya's heart jumped, but reality crashed back in. "Ethan, you seem like an incredible person. But we're from different worlds." This was a beautiful evening, like a time out from real life. "But tomorrow, I go back to my basement apartment and my $43, and you go back to whatever empire you're running. That's just how it is." "What if I don't want it to be how it is?" "Wanting something doesn't make it real." The car arrived. Before she got in, Ethan took her hand gently. "Maya, I don't know what this is, But I know I haven't felt this alive in years. Please don't disappear. Give me your number. Let me call you. Let's figure this out together. Maya looked into his eyes and saw something that scared her, a hope. The same hope she felt fluttering dangerously in her own chest. She pulled out a pen from her purse and wrote her number on a napkin from the restaurant. "One coffee," she said. "That's all I'm promising. Somewhere normal. Somewhere that's actually my world." "Deal," Ethan said, his smile bright enough to light up the dark street. As the car pulled away, Maya looked back to see him still standing there, watching her leave. She had no idea that the man she'd just shared dinner with was Ethan Castellan, CEO of Castellan Industries, one of the largest tech companies in the country. She didn't know that by tomorrow morning, he'd cancel 3 important meetings just to find the perfect coffee shop in her neighborhood. All she knew was that for the first time in years, she felt seen, not as a poor nanny, not as someone struggling to survive, but as Maya, someone worth knowing, someone worth choosing. Her phone buzzed. A text from Sophie. "How did it go?" Maya smiled as she typed her response. "I think you might have just changed my life." Sometimes the best things in life come when we're simply trying to help a friend, when we show up honestly as ourselves, when we choose kindness over pretense. Maya had gone to that dinner expecting nothing more than a free meal. She left with something infinitely more valuable, the feeling that maybe, just maybe, she deserved something beautiful too.